of love
Life of love.
with Joy Hilsen.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome to another episode of Life of Love, where we gather each week to explore our divinity, to show up in our best selves. Life can give us bumps and challenges, but we have a choice to ask for the highest expression. And that's the biggest thing, is to ask and to have the intention to ride the waves with as much grace, compassion, self-compassion, of course, first, and love for yourself. So this week is a special episode where we're going to tie into some teachings that are ancient. Again, this seems to be the theme of June, is tuning into ancient symbols and philosophies. Yeah, so I'm excited to bring forth this episode. And I ask you, as always, to open your heart and to receive these messages, this offering that I've created in this container of love and compassion and support. And it's a community already. The people tuning in each week are a community, and we're here to support each other. Even if we don't meet in the physical realm, there's some connection. There's this link that ties us together. We're going to talk about that link today too. So yeah, leave what doesn't serve you and take what does, and try to open your heart to a message. And if something hits you, just have the curiosity. How can you evolve? My friend Brooke was talking to me about evolution and how it helps her and her family deal with transitions and changes. It's not something to be scared of, the unknown. It's an evolution. And how can you improve through this transition? So I thought that was a beautiful sentiment. So shout out to Brooke. So sweet. Yeah. So I want to get right into it. I'm going to call in my higher self and my guides, the angels of light and love, of the highest light and love, my support, and also your support. You can call in your support to help you see what you need to see, to have clarity, to trust in your intuition, and just have discernment, because it's been another rough week, right? There's lots of things going on in the world. There's lots of things that you could get riled up about. And our task right now is to hold space for peace and hold space for this new earth that we're trying to birth. And all these old systems breaking down can be a little jarring, can be a little scary. I thought, what better topic to talk about this week than busting myths? And myths they're contracts, they're agreements that we might have made even epigenetically through the evolution of humankind. We've had some times that have been tumultuous. We've had times in our humanity where it was all about survival. Where's the next meal? Is there a line around the corner? And we've been called lately to ascend, to use our resources to reach up spiritually, not just materialistically. And I think a lot of us have gone through periods where we focused on, that material security, and it just lets us down. Eventually it lets us down. I mean, it's fun to get new things, and I'm not bashing the idea of getting something new at all. It's nice to have abundance around you, and I'm all about abundance. However, the whole idea that that's what you're here for, is to accumulate. We're going to get into this, the myth of scarcity. But I don't want to talk about the myth of scarcity first. I want to start with the myth of separation. And that's the first contract I want to bust. All right. You might have heard of contract dissolution before, or it might be something new, but it's a simple way to acknowledge, to be aware of something that's in your field that might have served humanity. And this isn't to shame. This isn't just one person or one group of people. This is all humankind has these overlays. They're very common. So I'm going to go over them, and, some might be more strong for you, and some might be like, oh yeah, I've sort of dealt with that already. But the first one is the myth of separation. And so what I would like to do is explore that myth, what it looks like. I might add some personal stories around it. But then we're going to go through a little process to cancel. And I invite you to maybe re-listen to the parts that you want to sort of dive into a little bit. And I also want you to acknowledge that these are difficult topics at times, and they can trigger emotions. So it's okay to take it slow. It's okay to listen and say, I'm going to do this later, or I'm not ready. And all of that's perfect. You're divine being, and I totally believe in divine timing. So do what feels right to you at this moment. You might not want to take on all of these at once because it might make you exhausted. But I just wanted to give all of them to you. And then if you guys want to dive into one or two more in depth, we could do episodes just based on those. Comment. Let me know what you're looking for, and we'll do what serves you. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help out. And if any of my struggles can help you, I'm so willing to go there for you guys. So, all right, the myth of separation, it shows up as competition. Your self-worth might be illuminated by being better than somebody else. You might feel better if you perform better or you get awards. And it's where you're setting up the best way I can say is competition. It makes you lonely because you're always comparing yourself to other people, and other people pick up on you're trying to prove that you're better than them. And it's subconscious. Like, these are not things that you're walking around with a t-shirt on that says, I believe in the myth of separation and I'm better than you. No, that is not how this works. These are all subconscious. You might find that, people, you don't have friends who are close to you as you'd want to be. And it might be because you're putting up walls and you're comparing yourself to them, or you're trying to one up. You one up on conversations. Yeah, I know, but, and you're always talking about yourself. Hey, I've been there. I've totally been there. And it's easy. It's easy to go there, but it's a myth because the universal law, the opposite of this myth of separation, is connectivity, that we are one. It's all the major religions have this component. And it's interesting how many religions repeat these universal laws in different stories in different ways. So they're powerful. When it crosses cultures, it's, to me, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to pay attention to that one. It's going to serve me. So that law of one connects us to everything. And it makes us, do unto others as you do unto yourself. It's love your neighbor as yourself. It's, the whole idea that every action means something, that you're not going around bulldozing through life, because everything, every thought, every action has a ripple effect on everyone else. And it makes you sort of step back and say, hey, does this align with my values? Do I really want to do this right now? Or is it something that doesn't fit? It doesn't match my heart vibration, so I'm not going to proceed with this action. And if you can look through life through the lens of everything's connected, and I care about everything as much as I care about myself, you're going to open up a lot of possibilities and abundance and connection. I think people are looking for connection, even if they deny it. They want to feel love. They want to feel part of a group. That's why it hurts when, goes out and they don't invite you, and you see pictures of friends and an activity and you're like, well, why didn't they call me? And sometimes it's not sometimes, 100% of the time, it's never a mean-spirited thing. These things just happen, but that's why it hits hard, because this is an ingrained myth that you have to be the best. You have to dominate. You have to depend on yourself. And it causes fear and isolation and loneliness. And it makes you overreact if something's planned and you're not included. So, if that gives any insight into any kind of relationships you have or anything that you've been feeling, or if you feel inadequate in any way, it could be that this myth is running in the background, that you're separate and you have to insert yourself. I know, I'm holding space for that, because it's one that hits. It hits and it's painful. And it's not going to be that, oh, you cancel this contract and it doesn't hurt anymore. But you might have some insight once you realize that this could be running in your subconscious, that you could say, okay, that's why this is hard right now. And you don't have to get so emotional, but you can share how you are experiencing the situation without threatening or being, completely unwound by something. So let's cancel this contract. You ready? All right. So I hereby cancel the myth of separation from my physical, mental, spiritual, astral, and emotional planes. The myth of separation no longer serves me, and I ask my higher self to take this myth and remove it from my field, transmute this energy that's around this myth, and take it where it can be used for good. I ask this for my highest good, so I may express the highest expression of my being, and I can embrace my divinity. And breathe into that. You've just canceled the contract of anything that you knowingly or unknowingly or epigenetically inherited about the myth of separation. Now you embrace the universal law of oneness, and may you have clarity and sincerity in how it shows up for you, being a divine being in this law of one. Thank you. Thank you. All right, that was one done. Okay. Now the second one is the myth of scarcity. Okay, this shows up as hoarding. This shows up as always needing something more or feeling like you're filling a void by shopping or having material goods that, some things you need, but if you're shopping and you're hiding everything you buy, like you don't bring it all in at one trip, guilty, I've done this. Yeah, you might be living under the contract of scarcity. And it shows up as overworking, never having enough money. It shows up as stress. Like you can't have enough of a safety net because it might all get ripped out from under you. And this stress that runs in the background of not having enough or not being prepared enough, it blocks your to bring in abundance because it's keeping you at this vibration of lack. Okay, so the myth of scarcity can also show up in you feeling like you're not open to the real love that you deserve, the depth of relationships that are available to you. It can show up as not asking for that promotion. It can show up as not feeling worthy. So it's anywhere that you feel like there's a need that you can't fill. And when you feel like it's a need that you can't fill, that means at the subconscious level, you believe there's scarcity around that. And the universe is full of unlimited potential. We're the ones that put up a mirror of, that's not enough, I need more. Because the more you give up, the more you release this pattern, the more that can come into your world. So you could be blocking the abundance that you really need and deserve to reach your highest potential, spiritually, emotionally, relationship-wise. You could be blocking it just because you think that there's just only so much available, which is BS because there's plenty of love available. There's plenty of money available. There's plenty of resources available. This fear overlay that there's not enough keeps us controlled. So that is the second myth that we're going to bust. So the universal law is the law of abundance, and our thoughts and beliefs about abundance shape our realities. Tuning into the law of abundance, you start to attract more opportunities and prosperity when you believe that there is more available, that there's not the myth of scarcity. So there you go. Let's go ahead and cancel, delete the contract that we've subconsciously, and this isn't, no shame. This is how people did their best and got through life. They needed to hoard. They needed to control the supply. But let's go ahead and cancel that myth, the myth of scarcity. I hereby cancel any contracts which I consciously or unconsciously or epigenetically inherited, any myth about scarcity. I cancel this energy and this frequency. I cancel this vibration of scarcity from my physical, mental, astral, temporal, and spiritual field. I ask my higher self to take this frequency, transmute it, and present it to something in the universe for the highest good. I ask this to be done for my highest good so I can embrace my divinity in its fullest. I ask this for the highest good for myself and all humanity, and I claim the universal law of abundance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's move on. Number 3, the myth of control. The myth of control shows up as I'm going to micromanage everything in my life so that nothing goes wrong. And I'm going to control my kids. I'm going to control my husband. I'm going to make sure everybody's safe. And this is total mama bear. I mean, it's okay to protect your family and your kids, but this tight control, if you find yourself squeezing your fists, if you get aware and you realize your hands are clenched, this is running in the background, this myth of control, that it's not safe to release the reins. I don't know if you've ever been horseback riding, but if you hold on to the reins of that horse really tight, that horse picks up on your stress and your anxiety, and that horse is not going to do what you ask it to do. It's either going to run or it's going to do what it wants to do or ignore you, or depends on the horse's personality, but you are not going to have the best experience on that horse if you're holding onto the reins for dear life. And you can't hold on to your life with dear life. You can't hold on to your life like that either. So this is a big one because, it's like you have this idea. People can have an idea that giving up control, not micromanaging, you don't care. And it's not about not caring. It's about trusting, setting your highest intention, and looking for, I'm not saying ignore problems. I'm just saying you don't have to hold on so tight. You put that bubble of light around your children. You teach them safety. It's easy to go over the line, right? Because some of it's safety and parenting, but you'll feel it. If you're holding on to too much control, your shoulders are always tight. It shows up in your body. Your neck might feel stiff a lot. Ask yourself if you're running the myth of control. And you might be surprised. It shows up as stress, anxiety, perfectionism. You might overwork yourself. And the belief is that micromanaging leads to happiness and success, like this temporary, uncomfortable, picking out everything that could go wrong and over planning so that you don't have to deal with any stress actually adds more stress. So it's an example of imposing your will on reality instead of trusting that life will unfold, divine timing, that it's all just going to work out. It can be a tough one, especially if, a perfectionist. It can really be a doozy. Just talking about all these makes me a little bit like, oh, am I running that one still? because these do. You'll cycle through and you'll be like, yeah, I dealt with that, but it's a different level. It's a different way I'm dealing with it. And taking a deep breath and just acknowledging how you feel can make a huge difference in some of these. But let's ditch that myth. Let's break that contract. Let's cancel, delete this myth of control, because we have free will, but we can't control anyone else except ourselves. And sometimes it's not even great to over control ourselves. Maybe we just need to trust and be led from your heart and know that you tried your best and you don't have to be perfect. I don't know. Just putting it out there. You can't control anybody else's behavior. So that's a tough one, especially when you're a parent and you're trying to do the best for your kids. And it's all out of good intention. But let's cancel this contract of control. I hereby cancel and delete the contract of the myth of control. I erase it from my physical, spiritual, mental, temporal, and astral bodies. I ask my higher self to remove this frequency and transmute it to a place where it can be used for the highest good. It feels good to release control and know that I'm not in charge of everything. I don't have to be accountable to everyone. Some things just aren't my problem, and it feels good. And you can even, guys, you can even do some EMF tapping on this emotional freeing technique. You can be like, even though I try to control things because I'm scared, I completely love and accept myself. Even though the myth of control has been running in my background, I completely love and accept myself. This myth of control, it's easy to have it control my life. I accept that some things I can't control. I don't try to micromanage my kids. It's easy to try to do that. I'm just trying to keep them safe. And you can tap through these points while you're saying these things, affirmations about control and how it's shown up in your life. This control has really killed my joy. And these series of movements and tapping helps you rewire your situation with that energy. And you're reaching your subconscious through tapping on these points while you're saying these things. It's powerful. Like we said last week, words are fire. So as you cancel this contract of control, release this burden, and I ask for the highest light and love to replace these places in my energy field that held control. I release my fascia in my body so it can heal and it can be flexible again. And I choose to see when this overlay pops its head up, and I will intentionally say, it's a myth of control. I cancel, delete. I no longer consent in this contract. Thank you. And so it is. All right. And myth number 4, the myth of unworthiness. This one is about feeling like you have to prove yourself to everyone, that you're not worthy for love unless you do something for it. You're not worthy of affection. You're not worthy of abundance, money, that job. It can be a social conditioning that certain people only get this far. It can be related to trauma, family beliefs, cultural, gender roles. This comes up in a lot of different places in our society, and it causes people to self-sabotage, and you might find yourself settling for less than you deserve or push away love and opportunities. So this is a really good one to claim, because the universal law is a law of worthiness, not unworthiness. This is an easy one. Take unworthy and make it worthy. Anywhere where you felt like you had to prove yourself or that you just weren't worthy, you can realize that this could be a subconscious program that you've been running and decide it no longer serves you and you want to cancel and void that contract. So let's do it. I hereby cancel and delete the myth of unworthiness. I claim my worthiness with complete sincerity. I breathe in my ability to feel and to sense my sacredness. I ask the unworthiness to be removed from my physical, mental, spiritual, temporal, and emotional bodies. I ask my higher self to take these frequencies that no longer serve me and transmute them for the highest good to a place where they can be used to create something beautiful. I recognize that everything is connected, and I thank the universe for giving me the opportunity to recognize my unworthiness and to claim my divinity. I claim my worthiness now with my heart, and I let the golden abundance of worthiness to encircle my body and to lift my soul as my higher self cheers on my ability to feel worthy. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Number 5, the myth of time scarcity. The myth of time scarcity is the belief that there's never enough time, when you're always rushing to achieve everything. Busy, 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 busy. And this one can lead to constant stress. It can lead to you ignoring your relationships because you're more concerned about getting things done than have quality, meaningful connection with those around you. You're obsessed with your to-do list and everything else takes the back seat. I've totally been there. And the crazy thing is, once I realized this, I realized I could ask for help. Like the people around me could help me. if I just connected with them, brought in that law of one and said, hey, can you guys help me with this? Like this laundry, or, we could get together, we could play a game after dinner, but I've got these 5 things to do. Who can help me with this? And usually people in my house are really motivated to help me. I mean, you can't expect, there's no expectation when you ask, because sometimes it doesn't work out and it may not get done the way you wanted it to get done, but you never know till you ask. And people can't show up around you until you give them space to do that. And if you're so, robot about getting things done and that there's never enough time. And there's like a million different sayings that have to do with time. Time is money, beat the clock, all these things that are running, they affect your subconscious. And until you say, I'm going to pay attention to this, or you look at the myth, you might not even realize that you have a belief that there's never enough time. Life is short. Actually, the universal law about time is the law of presence. So it teaches us to be completely present, and the time is fluid. And this also goes in with quantum physics, the idea that things happen at a different pace when you're in the flow and you're tuning into your divinity, and it's not an uphill climb every single thing. You can choose to focus your energy on what really matters, and everything else that doesn't matter falls away. Your to-do list gets smaller because you're focused on what really matters to you, what's going to elevate you, what's going to help your evolution. So the law of presence helps you not waste your time, because when you're present, your time is very precious. So I'm introducing that myth, that time scarcity, and letting you know that being present can change how time moves. And you just have to play with it yourself to appreciate it. I know that there are days where I think I'm not going to get all the things done that I need to get done. And those are the days that I'll go and get quiet for 15 minutes and meditate. I do a brain dump, just try to sit there and breathe and get all, I might make a list of things that I know that I need to get done, I have to get done. But doing a brain dump, meditating, getting into my heart, getting clear on what's really important, I'll actually come up with faster ways to get things done than I would have done if I pushed through or try to do 3 things at once and be inefficient. It's easy to get into a car accident when you're rushing around. If you're not completely present, there are things that happen in your world that are chaotic. So if this one's strong, you might have lots of, little fender benders, running into the side of the garage because you're rushing to park, not listening to your body, taking care of those physical needs that you have. And the whole idea that you don't have time to exercise. Who has time to exercise? Well, when you exercise, it makes you more efficient. And so it's something to explore. And I invite you to look at how it might be showing up in your field. Let's cancel this contract. I hereby cancel and delete the myth of time scarcity. I cancel this rushing, this frantic need to conquer the day in a way that robs me of my joy. I cancel and delete this time scarcity myth from my physical, my mental, my astral, my spiritual, and my temporal bodies. I ask my higher self to take this chaotic energy of rushing and transmute it into something beautiful and creative for the highest good of all involved. I claim my ability to be present and heart-centered in every moment, trusting that my intuition will lead me to the path of the most efficient, loving, and accepting path. And I claim this. I claim this ease. I claim my ability to be present and loving and unconditionally accepting of everything I'm going through. For my highest good, I ask my guides, my higher self, to support me in this and help me with clarity to see how this can show up and how I can conquer and continue to cancel and delete the myth of not enough time. I hereby claim my temporal, law of presence with joy, and I look forward to having the time luxury to do everything that my soul desires. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have 2 more left. The next one's the myth of external validation. This goes along with the other one, the myth of separation, I think, because it shows up as needing to have validation. You need to be told, thank you for every single thing you do, because the other person validating your efforts is basically why you're doing something. You find yourself not doing things just to be nice or just to serve. You're doing it to feed your ego, to be told that, oh, you're so wonderful. And if you don't get that confirmation, that compliment, you might feel like people are taking you for granted. And I know I used to slip into this victim mode. I'd be like, I'm doing so much and everyone else is so selfish. Like, how can they just be so selfish to not see how much I'm doing for them? Well, maybe they didn't care and I didn't need to do it. I was wasting my energy running in circles around people that didn't really appreciate what I was doing anyway. So like them not appreciating it was a gift because it freed me from thinking I had to take care of everyone else so much that I didn't take care of myself. So this was a tough one. I have to admit, I really liked getting A's in school. I overstudied. Yeah, I was a big people pleaser. If everyone around me had a smile on their face, I was a success. And I still like to share joy. Don't get me wrong. But I don't care anymore if what I do isn't 100% approved by everyone around me. I'll do things because it's in my heart that I know that I need to do it. I might say things that they might not agree with, but I have to because it's on my heart. If I hold it in, I'm going to get, a stiff neck or whatever. It's going to show up in my fascia tissues and I have to let it out. But yeah, this one was rough because you get it. It's easy to live in other people's approval because you don't have to be a sovereign being. You're just a slave to other people's whims. People appreciate it to an extent, but it's suffocating. I don't know how to explain it, but I definitely was a middle child people pleaser. I thought the way to get attention was to do nice things, and which it wasn't bad. Like I'm not criticizing myself, but it was a way to burn out. Like you will completely burn out if you live in the myth of external validation. You're constantly striving to get the best car, the nicest new designer handbag. Like your validation comes from external things, whether it's compliments, material things, money, So yeah, this is a tough one because we do live, like Madonna says, in a material world, but it doesn't always serve your soul and your spirituality and your ability to be happy and joyful. That's in you. And so when you do something for someone else because it feeds your heart, it makes you happy just because you wanted to do it, not just because you wanted a compliment or a recognition. It's a different vibration. So I hope you can look at that one. It's very much worth it. It might show up as being disempowered and disconnected from your own truth. You might not even know. You might ask yourself, what makes me happy? And you're not even sure. People might say, well, what do you want? And you're like, I don't know. If you're stuck in this myth of external validation, you have put yourself so far in the back seat that you don't even know what you want. And that's scary because it takes a lot of soul searching to get back to that. But it's possible, believe me. I've been there and I came back from it. And I used to even self-medicate because I didn't want to face what my own fears around this were, that I wasn't good enough, that I needed validation. And so once I realized that was going on and I was drinking wine or whatever to numb the pain or to not look at it, to not look at how I wasn't paying attention to myself because it hurt too much to pay attention to myself. I stopped wanting to drink. I stopped self-medicating and I started loving on myself the way I was loving on other people. And it makes a huge difference because you just show up so much more joyful and more happy and connected and balanced. So that's a big one. Okay, let's bust it. I hereby cancel the myth of external validation. I ask my higher self to remove this need for validation from my physical mental, spiritual, astral, and temporal bodies. I ask my higher self to take this energy and to transmute it into something beautiful, something that can serve. I no longer subscribe to the myth of external validation. Claim my divinity. I know I'm worthy. I don't need anyone else's approval. And I realize that empowerment comes from my self-recognition and my ability to know that my worth isn't dependent on anyone else's opinion. I don't need to prove my worth. I'm worthy because I'm breathing. And everyone else is worthy because they are breathing. Even if they don't realize it yet, I'm going to shine and be a mirror for divinity for others. And I claim my law of inner authority. I have the sovereign ability to know what's best for me and to claim each and every emotion, each and every feeling, how it affects me with my authenticity. I hereby claim my ability to have inner authority. I claim it with my heart and my soul, and I wrap myself in a blanket of authenticity, knowing that everything's perfect and my feelings matter. I do not consent to people demeaning my feelings or saying that I'm too sensitive, because I know that these feelings are valid and my authentic reaction is my reaction. And no one is to tell me that I am not worthy of my reaction. I claim my inner authority now. I appreciate my blanket of inner authority, and I will wrap it around me whenever I need it. I ask my angels and my higher self and my guides to bring clarity on situations where I might be tempted to slip into this old contract. It is now canceled and void. I no longer require external validation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, the last one we're going to do is, gosh, there's two more. Well, I'm going to put these two together because I think they go together. And that's just how I feel. And I just claimed my inner authority, my authenticity. The myths are, I have to do it alone, and the myth of perfection. And I do think these go together. I'm not just making this up. I have to do it alone comes from the idea that, well, you're not subscribing to the law of one if you think you have to do everything alone, and you believe that you can do something better than everyone else and you don't need support from anybody else, or you think nobody's going to do it the way you do. And this can make you feel isolated. It can prevent you from seeking mentorship, having community around you, and like emotional support from others. It is a myth. You don't have to do things alone. And the law is a collaboration. And that law teaches us that we're stronger together. And community is important. This has been something that, at least in North America where I live, it's isolating. And we even have electric garage doors. And sometimes people come home from work, they pull their car in, shut their garage door, and go inside. And it makes it feel like you're not in a neighborhood. And that sense of community is very fulfilling, and it can bring joy, and you can show up for others when you're close to them. You can know when they might need, a hug, or they might need you to just listen, or they might have a death in the family, or, whatever it is. There's something about having people around you that are just there for you, that check in on you. And so I encourage you to appreciate that that's a myth, that you have to do things alone and that things have to be perfect, because things don't have to be perfect. A lot of times the most beautiful things are imperfect. So we'll cancel this one. I hereby cancel the myth and delete any contracts, conscious or subconscious or epigenetics, that say that I have to do things alone and that things need to be perfect. I remove this frequency from my physical, emotional, temporal, spiritual, and emotional bodies. I ask my higher self to transmute this energy of having to do it alone and needing to be perfect from my field and transmute it into something beautiful, something that can serve humanity. I offer this up as a contribution. I release my grip of needing perfection from myself or anyone around me. And I call in community. I call in friendships and mentors, business partners. I call in the highest expression of my showing up in community and my compassion for accepting things for as they show up and asking for that highest good and going with the flow of how it turns out and what I can learn and appreciating that ride, knowing, not feeling like I have to fix things. I hold space for times when I did this consciously or unconsciously, and I embrace I embrace this canvas of love and compassion that I'm bringing in and the new way I can show up, because every day is a chance to show up in your highest good and asking for the community, the people to support you, and claiming that you deserve to feel connected and loved and cherished, and bringing that in your field is going to be so beautiful. And I hereby claim my law of collaboration and the law of imperfection, embracing the growth that comes through learning, through making. And I have compassion for my mistakes because I do learn and I do grow. And the law of imperfection is there for me, and I embrace it with an open heart. I thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you really enjoyed learning about myths and universal laws. I really had fun preparing this. I've been wanting to do this episode for, I don't know, a couple of years at least. I heard universal laws the first time. I was like, what's that? And sometimes I just get these seeds of inspiration. I've got to go down this wormhole. And I've done that with universal laws. And at first I couldn't even find a book about it, but I found a book about it. And I've tried to see how they apply in my life. And there's more. There's more universal laws, but these were the ones that I decided to present today. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed canceling contracts, and you can come back and maybe revisit when you're in a quiet place. I also I'm going to do a bowl meditation, sound bowl meditation this week, and I'll post it on my YouTube channel. It's Life of Love 111, or you can find it as Julie Hilsen on YouTube. You could also go to my website, lifeofloveandjoy.com, and I have all the meditations on there. If you're having trouble finding me on YouTube, you can find it there. But get quiet. What I want to do is encourage you to, focus on compassion, love, and acceptance, and listen to the bowls and just release your grip. Release your grip on trying to, to impose any of these laws on yourself, because they will limit your ability to embody your spiritual potential. So I'm so happy to provide this to you. And it's helped me grow going through those different stories and the different triggers that I felt as I was saying these. It's like, gosh. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. I adore you guys. I love you. And let me know how this shows up. And I'm just really curious about anything you can share about changes you notice and in the way your life is forming while you're getting rid of myths that no longer serve you. All my love to you guys. Thank you.